Hello, all, and welcome to our first ever live show here. Now, before we get started here, I need to give a shout out to a very special member of the channel. It's Nev, first ever in the history of the world, first ever member of the All Red show. So it's Nev. If or when you watch this, thank you so much. And it was his suggestion that I do a short live video like this. And so here we are at his suggestion. I thought it would be what a great opportunity for the first ever live production here on All Red to react to the Arne Slot first interview that just happened. And while I was watching it, it was about a half an hour long. If you didn't get a chance to check it out live on YouTube, I would highly suggest that. And but I've taken some notes, and I want to break those down. We can have a conversation about that. So jump in the chat and we can have a dialogue because there's probably not going to be like thousands of people on this. So drop your stuff in the chat. I'll look at it. We can talk about it. So let's get started. Arne Slot, first interview. First off, it was not a live interview. It was pre-recorded, which is totally fine. But I'm really interested in what Arne Slot is going to do in his first press conference, right? The first press conference that Klopp had was filled with just golden nuggets. I mean, things that we're still referencing in his last days as a Liverpool manager from that first live press conference where journalists are in there. They're able to ask him questions. So we didn't get that today. But we still got to see Arne Slot in a Liverpool shirt, and we got to hear some background information that we've been dying to know about. So, yes, I hope we win some trophies. And yes, I agree. Modupe Jowu, thank you for the comment. Yes, I agree. I hope we win some trophies, and I hope we win them quickly. I hope Arne Slot comes out of the gate and wins trophies right away, which I think he's very capable of. He's done that at his former club. So, all right, some notes that I took on the Arne Slot interview as we react together. So first off, everything that we have known about Arne Slot from his previous clubs, I think he proved true in this interview. Now it's a pre-recorded interview, so it's not live, but he was very poised and very professional. And I got the sense that this Liverpool job for Arne Slot is not too big for him. He looks like he is just ready to go and kind of wants to just get going. So very professional. And I also got the sense that maybe, and this is not a knock on Jurgen Klopp at all, but maybe Arne Slot is a little bit more stable than Jurgen Klopp. I don't think we're going to see this from Arne Slot, which we saw from Jurgen Klopp a few times in his reign at Liverpool. So, you know, I get the sense that Arne Slot is very calm, very poised, very just professional, and that's good. Those are good qualities you want in a manager. Also, very good communicator. So, if you go back and watch, or if you watch the interview, Arne Slot, very good English, very good communicator. Had to ask a couple times, like, is this how you say it in English? Which is totally fine, but he got the words. Like, he was just, you know, difficult words like predecessor. Like, oh, is that how you say it? And the moderator was like, yeah, that's how you say it. So good communicator, already knows English very, very well. I think he did a great job. Now he did mention several times that he enjoyed his holiday, so that's great. Arne Slot got a good holiday in him this summer. Good, because you're probably not going to have one for the next 9+ years. No, I'm kidding. Seemed like he had a good summer, and it was good, he said, because he was so excited to get started at Liverpool, and he thought about that a lot on his holiday. He also mentioned, this is interesting because I've heard a lot of people talking about, hey, this new structure with Liverpool, Arne Slot's not going to have a say in transfers. Michael Hughes or Richard Hughes and Michael Edwards are just going to be buying players, and Arne Slot's going to be super upset. No, he addressed that, and he said he would be working directly with Richard Hughes on transfers, but he also said that he wants his main job to work on the team, not to be dealing with transfers all the time. So that's good news. I would want Arne Slot to be involved in the transfer window with Richard Hughes and with Michael Edwards, and it sounds like he's going to be doing that, which I didn't doubt that before, but it's good to hear him say that. He also, this was just a little comment he made when asked about what was it like when you were first approached for the Liverpool position, and he just mentioned like he didn't tell anyone except for his wife, and that was something he had to keep private for obvious reasons. That to me was very interesting. I actually liked hearing that because that kind of tells me that he's got a stable home environment. And when you think about a leader of a team, you would want someone who's a good leader of his own home, someone who is not going to be having personal drama that comes in and affects the team. You don't hear about that a lot with managers. You hear about that more with players. But that was just a cool little comment. Like, okay, like I think his home environment is really stable. It seems like he's really close with his wife, and that's good. That's good. You want that. Jurgen Klopp was that way too. Like his wife was always on board and always seemed super excited about Liverpool, which you got to have that as a manager, as a guy, as a husband. You got to have that. You got to have your wife and your home on board with what you're doing. So, anyways, that was just a little tiny comment that I was like, oh, cool. It's Nev. Oh, it's Nev. Yes, sir. He's here. Welcome, sir. Glad you could jump on. We're just getting into reacting to the interview. All right. He mentioned, Arne Slot mentioned when he was approached about the Liverpool job, he mentioned that this was a job he had to take, which is really cool. I mean, this interview was like he was humble but also confident, and he made it sound like, hey, when Liverpool comes knocking, you got to take that job. And what was really interesting is he kind of compared the Liverpool Man City era, like Klopp and Pep, to the Barcelona Real Madrid era, like 10 years ago, when Barcelona was like the best team and they were fighting with Madrid in the La Liga. And so that was kind of cool, like from a third party, a European football fan. He kept calling himself a fan. And he mentioned that from the outside, Liverpool and Man City were that new rivalry in Europe that everyone was watching. And so you can kind of feel his awestruckness when he was approached about the Liverpool position. Like, this is essentially coming in and taking over that Barcelona team or that Real Madrid team, and you have to take that as a manager. And this is Arne Slot's destination. Arne Slot's not going to go out looking for a different managerial position. This is it. This is the top. This is the top of the line position. We all know that as Liverpool fans, but to hear him say that was really sweet. I think Arne Slot's going to be a much less emotional manager than Jurgen Klopp. This first interview kind of showed like he's very poised, very professional, is not going to be super animated, and probably won't be as emotional with the fans as Jurgen Klopp was. I think there's such a special connection that Jurgen Klopp had with the fans because he loved the fans, and he also would call out the fans when he wanted them to do more. I don't get the sense that Arne Slot is going to be that way. I get the sense Arne Slot is going to be much more focused on the players than the atmosphere necessarily at Anfield. Now, I could be wrong. Over time, he might feel more confident and more comfortable to, say, hey, fans, we need more, or the fans were amazing today. I think he'll say stuff like that. But Jurgen Klopp had just kind of this aura about him to really just call out the fans when they needed to be called out, or in the stadium, like during the match, like turning around and yelling at a group of fans. Like Jurgen Klopp would do that. He'd feel comfortable doing that. He would know that he's not going to be completely demolished by the fans when he does that, because he knew he needed to do it. So very, very cool, calm, and collected Arne Slot. And I get the sense that he is excited, but he's excited to like get started and get his hands dirty with the players and the staff and the training. Like, he just wants to get going. Like, this interview wasn't like, oh, yes, I'm very good. Yes, yes. Yes, no wonder Liverpool wanted me. It was like, hey, I'm going to talk, but I really want to get out to the training ground because it's amazing. I also get the sense he talked about 82 points, finishing with 82 points, and how great that was for Liverpool. But he was like, the fans know, and I know, we need to be better than that. Like, we want to win. And that was really good to hear too, because someone like Arne Slot, I always think back to Roy Hodgson. Okay. Those are some dark days. When Roy Hodgson came in, he brought his, was it Fulham at the time? He brought his Fulham mentality into the club. He was buying players that Fulham would buy, and he was playing players that Fulham would play. And obviously that didn't work. And so when you bring in a guy like Arne Slot from a smaller club like Feyenoord, but a very like-minded club, you don't want him to make Liverpool into Feyenoord. Okay. We don't want that. We want Liverpool to be Liverpool. Liverpool will be Liverpool. But we don't want Arne Slot to come in and bring in that same mentality from Feyenoord. We want him to come in and say, this is a massive club, and Liverpool Football Club needs to be winning. So 82 points for a Roy Hodgson would be like amazing. He would probably be through the moon. But Arne Slot coming in and saying, hey, 82 points was good, but we need to be better. Okay, yes, good job. That's what I want to hear from my manager. He wants to be better. So he also talked about staff. He's talked about they're still looking for some more staff. So if anyone out there wants to work for Liverpool Football Club, you might want to apply for the open positions on the coaching staff. Yes, it's Nev. He brought Konchesky to the club, dude. Every time I think about bald Paul Konchesky and how he was like our starting right back or left back. That was just, those were dark days, man. Those were super dark days. It's Nev says, I really do have a good feeling about this fella. Take some balls to replace Kloppo. I hope as LSC fans, we give him a chance. It will take a bit of betting in time. Yes, it will. It'll take time. But it does take courage to come in after Klopp, especially the way that Klopp left. And Arne Slot mentioned this. By the way, Arne Slot addressed the pronunciation of his name. I'm going to start saying it this way because it does sound cooler. He said his first name is pronounced Arne Slot. Okay. Not Arnie. He's like, it's not Arnie, but Arne Slot. Doesn't that sound cool? We all need to start saying it that way. Arne Slot. That's how you pronounce it. Directly from the man himself. But I do get the sense that he's got courage, right? You have to have courage to come in and replace a guy like Jurgen Klopp, who left on the best of terms. And Arne Slot addressed this in the interview several times, how good of a position Jurgen Klopp left this club and how excited he is to take over. So, yes, it's like Jean-Arne Riese. Exactly. Senbo says he has the same energy as Klopp. Yeah, I agree with that. I think he does. He almost sounds like him in his voice and inflection and the way that he talks. I would say slightly different energy in just the way he carries himself. Jurgen Klopp was always very emotional, very enigmatic, very dynamic, which is great. And as fans, we love it. And I think the players love it too. I don't see Arne Slot running around the pitch, giving players hugs. I don't necessarily seeing him doing the fist pumps at the end of games. He's going to be his own man. And he said that he wants to do his own thing, but he wants to carry on. And this was really encouraging because he said him and Jurgen Klopp, there's a lot of similarities. And he's going to do a lot of the things the same way that Klopp did, but he's also going to bring in his own style. And I think that's very important because the cool thing about what Arne Slot gets to do now is he's not starting over. Arne Slot is taking over, and he's going to carry on the momentum that Jurgen Klopp built last season and has been building. But he's going to do some things his own way, which is great. That's what we want to hear. I hope we have the same aggressive approach without the leaky defense, says It's Nev. Absolutely. I want to see the same energy and aggression, and I want to see the same exciting football style without the leaky defense. That would be great. That would be great. I think we all want that. Here's an interesting little fact. Arne Slot said that he went back and was watching old training sessions. So he was like, obviously, I went back and I've watched Liverpool for years, but he also went back and watched old training sessions, which to me is like, okay, this dude is pretty dedicated. He said he did that because he wanted to get to know the players. He's like, you can always watch players in the games, and you can get to know a player through watching how they perform on the pitch. But he's like, to go back and watch training sessions, you can really get to know players and how they perform, how they train, how they work hard. And I thought that was really like Arne Slot's a guy, man. Like he's a guy who's going to work hard. He's a guy who wants to know everything about his players and the club. And he's not going to stop at anything to implement what he needs to implement. So I thought that was, I was like, dang, dude. Oh, man, to go back and watch training sessions, like, number one, it sounds super boring. But for Arne Slot, it sounds like what he would want to do on a Friday night with a bowl of popcorn. So he also mentioned he was asked about reaching out to players, and he said he reached out to players only after Klopp was officially done, out of respect to Klopp. But he said he did reach out to Virgil van Dijk first, had to start with the captain, and he said it went really well because they get to speak Dutch together. So that's good. That's a good sign. It sounds like he and Virgil van Dijk, they probably knew each other previously, but they got to speak together in their native tongue, Dutch, which is a good sign because it sounds like they're already on the same page. There's already good chemistry there, and that's great. That's great because you want your manager and you want your head coach. You want your head coach and your captain to be on the same page and to have good chemistry together. Yes. What do we got here? Inform us about transfer news coming into Liverpool. Francis Gatembo. I don't know if you're asking me to do that, but I am going to do another live production here at the suggestion of It's Nev, my one member on the channel. Thank you very much, It's Nev. But I am going to break down I think it's going to climb up to top 50. I have a top 45 that I've put together, a giant spreadsheet, and I've gotten some other names that I need to add to that. And I'm going to do a live and just put those names up on the screen so that we can talk through them. And I think it's very interesting because this is my first, I can share my screen. That's cool. And I'll do that when I put that together. So let's hope Slot is proactive rather than reactive, so won't have to fix issues at halftime. Yes, It's Nev. That is a fantastic point. I've made this point before because I've heard that Arne Slot is a genius at preparing his team for individual opponents. And what Klopp was really good at was, hey, this is our style. We're going to go play it, and we're going to, do what we do. And then he was really good at making halftime adjustments when Liverpool would be down 1-0 or tied 1-1 or tied 0-0. Klopp was like the master at, okay, it's halftime. Here's what we need to do. Here's their approach, and we're just going to go out and beat them. And usually that would work, except for April of last season. Arne Slot is different because he is very proactive in saying, hey, before the match, the week before the match, here's how this team is going to line up against us. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to bomb the ball forward. Instead of playing possession, we're just going to rip the ball forward to our front line and let them go score. There's examples of that, of what he's done in his playing career. Here's a fun story from his playing career. When he was playing, I can't remember the team name, but he would start his kickoffs, and he would kick the ball like as high into the sky as possible. And people would laugh at him, and they would say, this Arne Slot is ridiculous. What is wrong with him? But he would do that because when the other team was looking directly into the sun, he would kick the ball up into the sky as high as possible. They would have to look up and basically be blinded by the sun. And then his team would just basically go and take the ball and score. And that happened like 9 times. It worked like 9 times. So little things like that, where it's like he's not embarrassed to do things that'll work, even if they look ridiculous. So Arne Slot, I expect him to do that as a manager of Liverpool. I expect him to say, all right, Crystal Palace, they're terrible at defending balls over the top. So instead of trying to possess and build from the back, we're just going to kick balls over the top to Darwin or to Cody. And we're going to score that way. So that's what I'm really excited about, because I feel like Jurgen Klopp was very stubborn, and in a good way. Like, his style was very good, but he would always play his style. And I think there were several key matches, where that didn't work. Now, Pep Guardiola does the same thing, but, his style is very droning and very, like, just going to possess the crap out of the ball. And, Jurgen Klopp, maybe we just didn't have the discipline. I mean, we did, and there was just a point difference in 2 of those seasons. And even last season was super close. So anyways, I expect Arne Slot to be much more proactive. That's a good comment. It's Nev. I'm excited to see that too, because I think we'll visibly see that on the field based on the opponent we're playing. So Rodrigo coming in for transfer. That would be nice. Yeah. I don't know. I don't see that happening, but yeah. But I think Salah, Virgil, Alexander-Arnold, I don't think they're moving. Virgil's going to stay. I think Trent's going to stay. Trent's going to become the captain of Liverpool. It has to happen. I don't think he's leaving. Don't look into his little celebration with Jude Bellingham. There's nothing there. Thank you so much. It's Nev. Do consider joining the channel. I really appreciate the support, guys. Like, I don't want to drone on about this for longer than 10 seconds, but I appreciate subscribers. I appreciate members so much. You guys mean the world to me. So I do feel like Arne Slot is going to take the best of Klopp, and he's going to insert things that he wants to change. So the best of the Klopp Liverpool era, he's going to keep, and he's going to make small changes that he wants to implement. And that's really exciting. So yes, I think the last thing was just, and I said this at the beginning, Arne Slot, this interview, he looked poised, and this job doesn't look too big for him. He looks like he's ready to be the manager of Liverpool Football Club. When a manager comes in from a smaller club, sometimes you can see it in their eyes. Sometimes you can see it in how they speak. It's like, you're not quite ready. Hopefully you grow into it. Arne Slot seems ready. He seems ready to take this job on and take it by the horns and do a good job. And it just feels like he is just confident, but not arrogant, confident, but not, if there are issues, he's going to crumble. Like, I think Arne Slot has all the right stuff to make this a success. So that's all I'll say about that. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll be doing more of these. This was fun. I appreciate the comments. I appreciate you guys hopping on. And Arne Slot, man, the Arne Slot era, I cannot wait. I cannot wait for week 1 against Ipswich Town in the early slot, of course, against a newly promoted side. That'll be super fun to see. Kind of nice, too, for Slot to not have to play his first match in front of Anfield. Get one match under, and then go to Anfield for the first of many. And I think that'll be really, really fun to watch. So anyways, this was a great interview. If you didn't get a chance to watch it, go back and watch it. It's about 30 minutes long. Arne Slot's first interview with Liverpool Football Club. It was a good one, and it was very informative. And like I said at the beginning of the stream, everything we've heard about Arne Slot, everything we kind of thought we knew about Arne Slot, he confirmed it in this interview. I think he is poised. He's a good communicator. He's a good manager, and he's very, very excited. He respects the position at Liverpool Football Club, and he respects the club in general and is excited to be here. So that's all we can ask for. Arne Slot, we must back him as Liverpool fans. We must give him all the support in the world. We must sing his song, the song that Jurgen Klopp coined for him. And I think it goes like this. Arne Slot, la, 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 la. And I'll leave it at that.